from Belize. I have been wanting to get this video out for a couple days, but it has been raining like crazy here. It's pretty amazing how much rain it's movie rain. Before we moved to Central America, I'd watch the movies where someone would stand outside in the rain and they would get, drenched in like 10 seconds. And being from SoCal, I'd be like, that never happened. Where's that happen? Man, in Belize, it is like it sounds like a jet coming when the storms start rolling in. And they told us that it would be light weather conditions the last couple of days. It is, our roads are covered with water. It's pretty amazing. But I want to talk to you today, man. I get after it in the great book of wisdom. I love wisdom. I think because I want to have it so much. You know what I mean? Like, I realize that things in this world are so crazy. And so I just want wisdom. I want to be able to deal with problems and situations in my life and my family's life and community's life. And how do we deal it? How do we deal with it? How do we do it right that is better for everybody? And I think that's just really the heart of No Ordinary Men. What do we do to make our families better, our communities better? What do you do if you're involved in a little league organization and you see that it's not operating correctly? What do? Throw a temper tantrum? Act like the rest of them? Take your ball and go home? Or are you going to look for effective ways to make positive change that, like my wife says all the time, that you plant trees that you will never enjoy the shade from? Will you do that for future generations? How about in your place of work or employment, maybe your business, your organization? How about if you have your community, your town, your city, your state, your country? What positive change are you making? What effective change that is positive? Look, let's be real. We live in a culture today, and we're seeing it, this cancel culture where everyone has a good idea until they don't like it. Well, I'm not a huge fan of the good idea fairy. I've learned over the years and living in the jungle and going through that, you're starting to do something that's effective, it's working, and then someone goes, "Oh, I got a good idea." And then you get this good idea that pops in and it totally destroys the whole plan that was in place, that was rocking and rolling for this good idea. And halfway through it, you realize that the good idea just was a good idea. Right? So like I heard one guy say, the snake eaters, they said, just when the good idea fairy shows up, pull out your gun and shoot it. Just keep going with what is legit, what you know is solid, what you know is truth, and move with it, because the truth will set you free, but it will also guide you and it will keep you going. Now look, recently we lost a dude. I was laughing at that. I must have hurt his feelings somehow. One of our posts must have hurt his feeling, or he couldn't handle it or something. I don't know. But the reality is truth hurts. And a lot of times it hurts in our lives because when we're confronted with truth, we have to face the reality that we're not living in the truth, or that's not us. And so we are either going to run from it and continue to be that same person, or we will use that truth to make positive change in our lives, just like community. So I was going through this, the book of wisdom, the great book of wisdom. And here's what I came up with, man. I was reading it, and it said this: "The blessing and favor resting upon the righteous influence a city to lift it higher. But wicked leaders tear it apart by their words. To quarrel with a neighbor is senseless. Bite your tongue. Be wise and be quiet. You can't trust gossipers with a secret. They'll just blab it all. Put your confidence instead in a trusted friend, for he will be faithful to keep it in confidence. People lose their way without wise leadership, but a nation succeeds and stands in victory when it has many good counselors to guide it." So I was reading that, I went, oh my gosh, highlighted it. I sat down and I got 7 things that can help you and I as men become better leaders, or to help those who are in place of leadership, who are there in leadership for us. So if you want positive change in your little league, in your business, in your home, if you want, if you're like me, I don't worry, but I'm concerned about what is the next 3 generations look like from our lineage. Lisa and I have worked hard to stop divorce, with the work that we do in our own life. Lisa and I both come from broken homes. And so we made this choice that we will, one, let's not get divorced. Let's fight through, because we fell in love with each other. So let's keep that love real. And let's continue to pursue each other in it, even during difficult times. and we both made a decision that let's help others do it. And so, you know, for whatever reason, we're in Central America combating things. And as we help families and as we do leadership training from our facility and working with government, military, law enforcement, doing leadership training and helping develop teams, to family camps, to marriage, and how to be a father, how to be a mother, how to be husband and wife. We do that stuff. We see a lot of different things and a lot of different ideas that roll through, and some are lasting. And this is my opinion. The ones that are lasting, they've come from the book of wisdom. The ones that aren't, they're just somebody's good idea that worked in this little bit of a culture in, you know what I mean? But it wasn't, there's really not, there's partial truth to it, but there's not a lot of truth to it. So I said, man, I want to go not reinvent the wheel. If we're going to crush human trafficking, if we're going to crush the evil that takes place in the world, you better go to the source that originating the crushing of it, right? So going through this book of wisdom, we look at this. I found this like what I just read, and these are the 7 things that you can apply to your life, in your home, and wherever else that you're at. Here it is. Number 1, if you want to change something, you need to be upright, or you need to at least be somebody who is following someone that's upright. Now, we live in a day and age that everyone will take this and sway it to whatever opinion they want. Recently, I've been trying to start a dialogue with a guy I went to school with, and he's just talking about your president, your president, your president, your president. And I wrote him back. I said, yo, bro, are you American? When did you not be an American? Isn't he not all Americans president, whether you like it or not? But same goes on the other side of it, because years ago when Obama and those guys were in place, so many people were like, oh, he's not our president. No, if you're American, that's the elected guy, deal with it. But this is how you make change, is right here. Don't point fingers, say they're not. No, be the one who is. The number one way to make change from the book of wisdom is to be upright. Upright person is honorable and is an honest person. They have strong morals, values, and ethics. Now, from my stance, that I don't preach morals, ethics, and values. I preach Jesus. And from his guidance, I will get those things. Religion preaches all these rules and regulations. I preach Jesus, no matter who I'm working with, whether it be the anti-gang unit, whether it be the BDF, whoever it is that we preach Jesus, and then we talk about getting down and dirty as men and crushing evil, whatever way that is possible with it. But you preach that because Jesus will give you the morals and ethics that you need that will allow you to be an honorable, honest person that's upright. So the very first thing to change your community, change your organization, change your home, is you've got to be upright. You've got to be an upright, honorable person. Number 2, sensible. Man, the leader has to be, or yourself, you need to have sense. Good sense and reason, right? A person that is sensible sees practical and seizes good understanding. That person is all about the good over the comfort. Like, you can give your kids, check this out, if you're a sensible person, if you're seeking comfort, you will just give your kids potato chips and ice cream all day long, and they just become these big fat couch potatoes. And when they're in their mid-20s, they're diabetic and they've got all this stuff. Or you're sensible and you mix in the healthy fruits and vegetables, and then you say, hey, here as a treat, here's these other food sources, right? Here, enjoy, have a good time with it. You're a sensible person. Same thing in leadership. Like, oh, well, let's not do that. I don't want my workers to work hard. Well, if they don't work hard now, then good sense tells you, if you give them comfort now, then down the road, it's all going to blow up, and these guys aren't going to have anything to do because they're not going to have a job. And so you've got to be able to have a sense of reason for the practical and have good understanding of it. So the second is a sensible person. A leader's got to be, 1, upright. He's got to be sensible. 3rd, trustworthy. Man, a leader has to be trustworthy. They have to be dependable. They have to be a person, if you say, hey, we're putting our trust in you to get the job done, then they get the job done. If that's you, are you trustworthy? As a dad, are you providing, doing the best that you can to provide for your kids, provide for your wife, provide for your community? A leader's got to be trustworthy and dependable. That's how cities, towns, organizations are changed, because the leaders are trustworthy. Third, and this is important, or fourth, this is important, is they have to be a confidence keeper. A leader has to be a confidence keeper, not a gossiper. Too many dudes take inside information and they gossip about it, or they spread it and they ruin the plans. World War II, loose lips sink ships was a motto that was used. It's because there are a lot of people couldn't keep a confidence. Now, I'm not talking about a confidence keeper that conceals lies or evil, right? Down here in Central America, they call it your evil do's, your evil do's. A confidence keeper doesn't keep someone else's evil, doesn't hide the evil. That's why we have friggin' Epstein and all that crap running around, is they've all become, they just hide their evil together. You know, recently I saw this whole of everyone who's bought into that dude, flown on his planes, been to his private islands. Those dudes knew exactly what that guy was doing. Guys and girls. This isn't that. A confidence keeper is one who is setting, that is a part of someone is giving the inner of who they are, and you keep that, you protect it for them. You protect plans that are being laid out for the betterment of people. That's a confidence keeper, not a gossiper. And so 5 and 6 I put together, and it's called wise leadership. If you want to change your country, you want to change it, whatever it is in your home, you need wise leadership. One, and here's what wise leadership is: one who has deep understanding, keen discernment, and sound judgment. A wise leader is able to look at the situation. You know, I think often of that great king, this king of wisdom, who, when brought before him, was this child, and both women were saying, "The child is mine, the child is mine." And the king said, all right, then to his keeper, he said, bring me a sword and I'll cut the child in half, and I'll give half to you and half to the other lady. And the one lady said, yes, that's a good idea, do it. And the other lady said, no, don't give the baby to her. And the king said, this is your child. And then he cast the other one into prison. Sound judgment. He understood that, oh my gosh, I can look at a situation and I can make a judgment on that situation, and it's sound for the betterment of other people. I have keen discernment. I can look and discern. Like, if you don't know when someone's trying to patronize you, or they're trying to buy you into something by all these kind words and all this good stuff, like, there's a few people in my life, I have a lot of friends, but there's a few people that, man, it's just normal for them to say kind stuff to me. But then there's other situations in life that I have to look at and go, oh, you're just trying to get something from me. That's called discernment. Or someone, you could see the motivating plans of another person, and they're trying to manipulate something for their own personal betterment. That is discernment. And then this deep understanding of why you lead and for what you're leading for. And that goes into this. Wise leadership. A leader knows what other people's goals are, and he cares. So anyone he's leading, he understands their goals. He looks and cares enough to those who's leading and goes, hey, what are your in-game goals here? Like, what do you want out of this? I know that you may not be a part of this organization forever or whatever, but what is your in-game, and what can I do in this vision to help you accomplish that vision? A good leader does not lead by popularity. We live in if you've learned anything from what's happened in the last 2 months, popular leadership is failure leadership, because you can't be popular to everyone. So you run from this to this to this to this. Now, I'm going to say it from both sides of the house. In America, you've got Republicans and Democrats that do this thing. So you can't say, oh, they do it. No, there's been people who have been in it so long, this is what they do. Nancy Pelosi, she talks about this, then she jumps to this, and then she jumps to this. But we see McCaskill and some of these other Republicans, they do the same thing because all they're trying to do is keep their job. They really aren't leading. They're being popular, because popularity allows them to keep the position. And a popular leader will never take responsibility for failure. Do you hear me? So if you're seeking to be popular, you're wrong. I know this for a fact. I've said this for years. People that know me is that I love you, right? I love you. You can leave this place saying that you don't like me, but you can't say that I don't love you. So that's the case. We may not agree with each other, but even in my disagreement, I still love you. You may be a freaking moron, but I still love you. And you may think that same thing about me. If your heart's not that way, don't be in leadership. Don't be in leadership because you'll lead wrong. This council culture is all popularity. You're fooling yourself to think that one day it's dangerous. This is a dangerous way of leadership. And we've seen presidents in the past that have led that way. And so even when you hear people say, we want the popular vote, we want the popular vote, that's people who want it their way. And when failure comes, they'll cast the blame on everyone else but themselves. It can't be that way. So don't get in it, stay away from that aspect of leadership. A leader gives credit to where credit is due. A good leader, a wise leader, will get those people who are doing the work and will give them credit. And then a good leader will take the hits. He'll take the hits in failures. He'll take the responsibility. Hey, this didn't work because of me. He will not cast blame on anyone else. He'll cast a blame. If your home is disgruntled, if your home is messed up, you've got to take the blame for it. If you're the leader. If you're the leader, you've got to take the home. You got to take it. But you also got to give credit when it's just rocking and rolling, right? That's just what good leaders do. Good leaders will let people fail. Do you hear me? A good leader will let people fail, but they won't let them become a failure. Stanley McChrystal said that. Good leader will let people fail, but he won't let them become a failure. It's important in leadership. That's wise leadership, because some of the greatest learning lessons in the world is failure. And we live in a world where, oh, don't fail. Oh, it's just all crazy. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. No, sometimes you got to eat it. Sometimes you got to eat it and go, yeah, man, that's my fault. And it tastes crappy. But man, it'll be the greatest learning lesson that you'll ever have. And like I said earlier, we'll love others even when they don't like them. Good leader, you've got to reach across the different lanes and get people that think differently than you. I got grandkids over at the house, sorry, but we've got that they will let others in part of their leadership group that think differently than them. That's smart leadership. That's wise leadership, because you're getting the different views so that you can come out for the greatest result of all. It's not about being popular. And then the last one is advisors. Advisors. If you want to make change in your country, if you want to make change in your town, you've got to surround yourself with advisors, big time advisors, right? Advisors, the ability to talk to people in order to decide what should be done. That's what an advisor is. An advisor is that I'm going to get people that I can talk to and figure out what should be done in a certain situation. Here's what's important about when you're getting advisors. Do everything you possibly can to get people smarter than you, even if they don't think like you. Now, I'm not talking about evil and sin and all that. I'm talking about even if you're across the aisle on different political ideas or even biblical ideas, in the sense when it, that doesn't have to do with Jesus, but has to do with, I think you should do this with your kid or not, or whatever. Get smarter people than you. The scariest thing for me in politics, in church, and religion is when you have these people that hold these meetings and they just do the meeting for the sake of the meeting, but the reality is they think they're the smartest person in the room and they'll take no advice. That's not an advisor. That's not getting advisors, and that's not having advisors means you're getting people who have these other traits and they're smarter and more successful, and you say, hey, what do we do in this situation to make positive change? So you need to surround yourself with these people who have these traits. Now, let me say this, because this is very important to it in this whole aspect of surrounding yourself with advisors. There's a big difference between asking somebody their opinion and their experience in the matter. Because you may not have any personal experience in the matter, but everybody has an opinion about it. right? So there are times that I know people that I'll say, hey, what's your opinion on this? I realize that they don't have any life experience, but I trust them because they're smart enough to say, hey, what's your opinion in this matter? What do you think is going on? And I'll take their opinion so that I can listen to it and figure out what's going on. Other people, I'll go, hey, what's your experience in this? So I find it funny that some dudes will tell me all the time, this is how you run a leadership facility. This is how you run this training that you do. This is how you do. And I'll ask them if they've ever done that. And they say, oh, no, but I knew it, dude. I read a book on it. Dude, that's what's destroyed our education system. Is we got a bunch of people that are just echo chambers now. They're just in echo chambers. They're regurgitating, but they've never done. Let's look at business, for instance. You've got people right now in business, in universities that are teaching you how to be a successful business owner and have never, ever balanced their own books or run a business. They don't even know what it is to have to be concerned with about a business failing. And they're the educators, they're the professionals. No, they're just regurgitating opinion from years ago, someone's experience. So when you get yourself advisors, make sure they're smart enough that when they give their opinion, you trust that opinion, right? That's the key. So guys, at No Ordinary Men, this is just one of those times from the Book of Wisdom. This is how we change our culture. This is how we change government. This is how we change our towns, our cities. This is what we do, because we know that when these type of people are in place, regardless of their political views, when these type of people are in place, there will be success in that organization, success in that home, success in that town, city, or country. So this is what we need when we look to leadership. So if you desire to be a leader, desire to be this. Be this, put this into practice. I'm out from the jungle. You were made and created, men, to be extraordinary, not ordinary. So do something extraordinary. Go make change in your country. Peace.